Hey, and welcome to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie Podcast. I'm April Atmansky, and I'm here today with...
I'm Justin DeClue.
It is not Halloween, sir.
Moon.
Oh, moon.
Yeah,
okay,
but there's a moon out. A blood moon.
Okay, and I'm Colin Cunningham.
And so we're talking about a great movie today called Bloodmoon from 1997, starring Gary Daniels.
Gary Daniels and Chuck Jeffries.
And wait, Chuck Jeffries? I thought this was Eddie Murphy because he looks, sounds, and talks like him.
Holy shit, does he ever sound like Eddie Murphy?
And looks like him, yeah. So this is a Seasonal Pictures, that's right?
Mm-hmm.
Previously seen on this podcast, Super Fights.
Same director.
Long time ago.
Same director, and I think some of the same cast, and definitely the same fight choreographer, right, Justin?
I think Chuck Jeffries was, Tony Lung Si Hung, who's the director of this film. I believe he choreographed this film as well, because he mostly works as a fight choreographer.
Oh, Si Hung Lung. That's the choreographer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
So he pulls double duties. Well, we got a new actor in this. That's a big highlight. Frank Gorshin, the Riddler himself.
God. Yeah, fantastic.
Oh, also the villain, played by Darren Shalavi.
He's so good.
I think I'm saying his name incorrectly. I'm just going to call him Darren. He was a guy that made the transition and acted in a lot of Hong Kong movies. Probably most famously in Ip Man 3, where he played Twister.
Oh, okay.
I always thought it was IP Man.
Nope, it's Ip Man.
I have seen.
We didn't want to tell you because we thought you'd be embarrassed.
Yeah, it's original IP.
Yeah, no, I thought it was like IP address.
No, yeah.
But he's like
he surfs the cyber web.
It's Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen. He's
like
of pure code.
No, it's Tony Jaa, right?
No,
isn't he in
No.
Ip Man? Oh,
No.
what's the Tony Jaa?
You're thinking of Ung Bak.
Oh, Ong Bak.
Bak,
That's the
yeah.
one I saw. I never saw Ip Man.
Yeah.
They're good. I would recommend. There's 4 of them now. You can watch the first 2. 3, because that's the one that Darren shows up in.
And the director of this did choreography for those movies, I think.
Yes, he did.
Sweet.
That's
Yeah.
right. I think he's probably getting on in his years, which is why, if you look at his credits, he's really not working that much, but he worked, I think, from the 70s onwards that he worked in stuff. He was in Sammo Hung movies back in the day.
Oh, cool.
I would assume he probably speaks English because he was the person that Seasonal Films, the Hong Kong company, brought to North America, and he choreographed some of the No Retreat, No Surrenders. And by the 90s, he's directing because he did this, Super Fights. He also did a Hong Kong production that shot in America called Gun of the Dragon, which is okay, but it's interesting because it's in English.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, Men, he's directed two of my favorite movies that we've reviewed on this podcast.
So we saw this years ago. Justin, you showed it back in the day when you used to have a monthly film series at a
not
local
called
theater.
the Important Cinema Club Classics, now showing at the Fox Theater.
Yeah, that's the new one. But yes, it was called Laser Blast, which we have mentioned many, many times. And so I think it was 4 years ago maybe you played this. It was definitely
it was kind
pre-pandemic.
of late in the run of Laser Blast.
But it was such a good experience. Probably one of the ones that went over the best, maybe.
Because it's the best.
Everyone loved it.
It's such an easy movie that it's goofy, it's fun, it has great action scene, and you're buttered up when I just literally reached out to Gary Daniels online and said, "Hey, can you film an intro?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Didn't ask for money, didn't ask for anything.
I recorded that. Yeah, it was really, really.
Did you record it? Because I don't know if I can find it anymore.
Yeah, I've got chunks of it. I think.
Is that the one where he was in a gazebo?
No,
that's the one. It starts amazingly because he's boxing a punching bag, and he's like, "Oh, hello."
And he is
Gary Daniels,
and he is out of breath for the entire intro.
Yeah, so it's probably on your phone somewhere.
It's probably.
But so for those of you in the know, Justin just did his 24-hour summer movie Mind Melter over Twitch,
which are always fantastic.
This was the #1 movie. So the first movie, not
so
like
I
the
can
best.
butter people up, and they're like, they're all going to be this fun, right? And I'm like.
Oh, the ones I saw were pretty fun. But I have to ask, how did you show this, not distribute, project at Laser Blast? Did you have a DVD or a film print?
Yeah, I got a DVD from Korea, and I ripped that, which
nice.
I believe is the best version of the movie that you can find. I think it was released in North America because I've seen a DVD. It's actually the cover on IMDb. But I don't know how you could get it. So that's the one I was able to get.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
I saw it on Amazon, and it was on DVD,
yeah.
but I feel like it might be one of
A
those
bootleg?
Yeah, like one of those parole violators where it's just like a dub off the VHS.
Yeah,
or
but
something.
I feel
Yeah,
like
they
we
don't look
couldn't
very good.
we couldn't
No.
find it, or the reason it's been so long is that we didn't think it was available, and maybe it was, but only through like special order.
Yeah, so you can get it on DVD. It's on YouTube now, which
Yes,
is,
although not the greatest quality.
No,
but-
search the name Bloodmoon and then the year 1997.
Yeah, full
yeah.
movie is on there, and it's
it
been on
comes
there
out.
for a couple years now.
I
so
feel it's
that's
because like seasonal, they don't have a deal with anybody that has approached them for these things. So
I
like No Retreat,
know.
No Surrender was released by Kino, the first one,
Right.
but any of their other films, I don't think anyone's touched them yet, unfortunately.
Super
and they're
fights, come
all so
on.
good. And No
Yeah.
Retreat, No Surrender 3, and it's just like this
Oh,
shit
that
is on
one's the best.
YouTube because nobody
Blood
cares.
Brothers.
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
no one cares, well then get this shit on Tubi.
There is a company that says they're seasonal films because we paid for I think Blood Moon and No Retreat, No Surrender because like but they contacted us like 4 months later being like, what, you did a screening? Yeah, we'll take $100. And we're like, oh, okay.
Who is this?
Yeah, and
It's Gary
we
Daniels.
definitely mentioned this in the Super Fights episode, but I wish we could somehow find who owns these movies, get them in touch with your Draft House Pictures or like Vinegar Syndrome, and because this stuff needs
Somebody,
complete remaster. Because
Well, I'm sure
they're
that
great.
Vinegar Syndrome is probably working on it. Like, this is an easy get, and maybe because it's like a Hong Kong, an easy get as in that, like, I feel like it would sell and people would be like, this is my favorite
Absolutely.
movie
Oh,
ever.
100%. This and Super Fights are just so fucking entertaining.
And also No Retreat 3 Blood Brothers.
Yeah, that was great.
That which is also on YouTube if anyone's curious.
Yeah,
I
like
think
if,
it is still on
I'm
there.
sure Vinegar Syndrome has approached seasonal and tried to make like something with them. Maybe they don't have the elements anymore. Like they just didn't take care of them because like King of Kickboxers is another great one as well.
Okay, right.
So there's a whole bunch that they could tackle. And usually when Vinegar Syndrome does these things, they make a deal with the company, which is why you get like every Jahal Mary movie is suddenly released on Blu-ray
I see,
one after
okay.
the other.
Well, those are a bunch like came out like right after
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
other.
So if we get one, we'll probably get them all. So hopefully we will one day.
One
Crossing my
day.
fingers.
So we have a new player in this movie called Gary Daniels. He is
A new player.
Yeah, has
Have we
entered.
ever spoken of Gary Daniels? I think we did Rage, didn't we?
No,
we didn't do Rage.
Maybe on a Patreon when we were
Okay.
doing a catch-up episode. Maybe.
We might have like mentioned it.
I think
but
maybe
don't
you
think
guys
we've
talked about it on that episode that I was sick.
It's
We're
quite
gonna
possible.
go back, but Gary Daniels is a really, really good martial artist who is very funny because he, especially in this movie, he looks and kind of acts like a little boy.
Yeah, he does.
Well, he has a very posh British accent.
No,
Yeah.
it's Australian, right?
I think
No,
it's
he's British. He's British.
I was gonna
kinda
say,
sounds like
is
Australian
there
and
such a thing
British.
as
No.
a posh Australian accent?
Gary Edward Daniels
Yeah,
is an
British.
English actor, a martial artist. Yep,
Wow.
he's from
I
England.
always thought he was Australian.
It's weird. This kind of sounds like a mishmash of like Australian.
Well,
and
maybe he lived
British.
there for a while. I mean, it's
I don't know. That's possible.
April's really putting money down.
I know.
The only way I can describe him, and it's just every time I see him, it's like, Jesus Christ, this is like Daniel Craig's like younger, prettier brother that just came back from like a posh boarding school and
Yeah.
doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, and he's
Yeah.
like a virgin.
Yeah. Yes.
Looking at his biography, he was born literally in London, England,
Well, it's close to Australia though.
and he was a former British Army boxing champion. So you could not get more British than
No.
Gary
Wow,
Daniels.
okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
Been wrong this
Maybe
whole
he's trying to
time.
like hide it or something, and it's kind of
like he's trying to do an American accent. It's
Yeah,
because
and
he's
it kinda-
Australian
trying
for
to
some reason.
flat-
It kind of
Flatten it
ends up
out.
like a mishmash or something like that. But
yeah.
God bless him. Like, you know, he's got it, mostly got it all. He's like super amazing.
But he's fun to watch, like whether
He
you
is,
find him
yeah.
charismatic or not. And he puts himself all, into these movies
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah, like he's not hugely popular. I remember when you played this, the chat kept saying, "Hey, it's the guy from Pocket Ninjas," and I'm like,
Pocket Ninjas.
Like I know
Yeah.
of that movie, but I think
Yeah.
he's like in a ninja suit like the whole time, right?
I
Or
think so,
Maybe
yeah.
not the whole time.
Wait,
but,
did
yeah.
like Red Letter Media do that movie?
Yeah, they
they
That
did?
would-
Yeah.
Okay, that's why they know it.
So yeah, he always got this vibe of like kind of goody two shoes, like of like all
Even
the,
in other
of all the
movies we've
corners
seen.
had been sanded off somebody. Like he's just too good. And
Yeah,
like,
in
sweet
Rage,
and-
doesn't he play like a school teacher?
Yeah, he does.
yeah,
Yeah.
like and this
Which you got to check out, everybody. Rage.
it was really, really good. I like him. You know what I mean? God bless him. Not the greatest, like, he's not a charisma dynamo.
No,
you could say.
but he's okay.
But he's
What's going on?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Gary Daniels. How are you doing?
Oh,
no.
my wife left me.
Sound
I'm
like
very sad
Andy
about that.
Gibb.
Yeah, Andy Gibb. Or Anthony.
I mean, I think he's a name internationally though,
I think
because
so,
like he
yeah.
acts a lot, and he was one of the villains in the first Expendables movie.
Hey.
Oh,
I haven't seen any of
Yeah,
those.
he has a big
but-
major role in that film.
Okay.
He gets his neck broken in like the big climactic fight.
Oh, I don't even remember. I remember he fought Jackie Chan in City Hunter.
City Hunter, yeah, early on in his
they
career.
did that funny Street Fighter scene.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in Fist of the North Star.
Yes, he's also in Albert Pujols' Knights and Firepower, and is he in and Heat
I've
Seeker?
seen
So is-
Firepower.
Yeah.
I
I
think.
think we had. Oh wait, is that the one with?
Wait, no, Firepower is not a Albert Pujols
that's
movie.
not a
That's a
Pune,
Richard Pepin
yeah.
film.
What's the
That's
one
a
with
PM.
Chad McQueen?
That's Firepower.
That's Firepower.
Okay.
That's the one with The Ultimate Warrior.
Got it. And then Gary Daniels dies early, and you're like, oh
Yes.
god, I'm stuck with Chad McQueen.
Yeah,
for
that
the rest
That's
of
the
movie-
one that has that awful. Oh yeah, they're investigating an illegal cure for AIDS in the film.
And there's like an underground fighting thing.
Yeah, it's like
That's
blood
what it's
sport.
about.
That one was not as good. That was
No,
the
it's not
least
good.
the least good Gary Daniels one I saw. And then Rage, and this one is a close second. But Rage is not a martial arts film. It's a film with a lot of explosions.
Yes, I feel like we talked about this because we made
I
a
have.
joke that it fit.
It's
it
like The
felt
Matrix.
Like PM Entertainment ran out of money, and they're like, we got to burn through all these cars.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the second action scene is bigger than The Matrix Reloaded for some reason.
Yeah, but it's like the Matrix Reloaded without CG, and
Yes.
then they use the same highway.
Riot is a great Gary Daniels film. His escape from New York that takes place during Christmas.
Oh no shit!
Did you?
Hello,
I played it.
I've
Yeah,
got to
during a
escape-
Christmas
I've
marathon.
got to escape from
That's
New
the
York.
one that you re-edited, right?
Yeah, I cut out like 10 minutes.
I saw some. That's these marathons. I can't stay up late because I'm old and often having alcohol. So it's like
Well,
I can't stay up late.
I'm the first to bed, whatever, and then April stayed up for another movie. I think.
Well, yeah, but Riot was like I watched the first couple scenes, but I was like I have to go to bed, and I think it was like midnight.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
was
I
a
think
couple ones
we
ago.
showed that one at Laser Blast too. I'm surprised that you didn't see it there.
I think that was like I missed it or
Before your time, yeah.
Yeah, maybe
well, not
before-
before.
before
I've
I
been
started
going to
going.
Laser Blast since the beginning, but I missed like a bunch of them. Anyway, this movie,
Oh,
Blood
this
Moon.
movie.
We gotta talk about Blood Moon.
I was so excited, Justin, when you asked us have we done this movie before, and I said no, I don't think so because we probably wouldn't have done it because it wasn't available anywhere.
yeah,
and
or not easily available.
Yeah,
anyway.
and then you said, okay, I'm showing it at my marathon. It's the first movie. I was so excited because I
Yeah.
hadn't
I had to
seen it.
rewatch Blood Moon.
Yeah, I was so
yeah, really
so excited.
we were,
'Cause
and
I loved it so much the first time we saw it. Oh man, it did not disappoint. Everybody was like, I love the chat because you can see people's comments and stuff.
Yeah, so that's what's great about the marathons. If you're into that kind of thing, some people I think don't watch the chat; they just want to watch.
Well,
the
you can
movies.
just turn it off. You don't
Yeah,
have
you
to.
can.
Exactly, but it's
it's like half the fun.
It's like live riffing,
Yeah.
but not hearing people, which is great. So you can,
Yeah.
people are making jokes, and it was fabulous.
Yeah, it's really really.
But
fun.
I will judge your jokes if they're funny or not.
Yeah. So the first scene is not a scene with Gary Daniels. Gary Daniels does not show up for a while actually in this
Yeah.
movie. We get
Well,
our
you
other
know-
lead first.
How to know a movie is good is if the title, Blood Moon, morphs into a moon through the magic
Oh,
of
you better
computer
believe it
animation.
does. This was the '90s,
There's
baby.
some fun late 90s.
That shot cost $30,000.
There's some fun computer animation.
There's
in this.
there's a really
little
good kind of Francis Ford Coppola Dracula-esque transition where the Blood Moon transforms into like a
traffic light.
a traffic light, like the red light. I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing.
But yeah, so the first scene is this guy who is, I guess, at a gym training. The guy from Mortal Kombat, everybody. He gets killed in the early scene in the Mortal Kombat tournament, which is the black guy with the braids. And he's like just training late at night. And then someone comes in and
With metal-
begins to beat the shit out of him.
Oh,
Metal
wait, you
boots.
mean someone comes in that's dressed like the Phantom of the Opera
Yes,
with
yes.
like a cape?
And it's
And he
a mask is
introduces
the top
himself,
half.
and he puts his leg up, and he's like, there's a full moon tonight.
Actually, isn't that like the Lone Ranger, like or something?
Kind of like a domino mask, but it's white and black, so
Yeah.
it's like a yin yang mask.
And he's got like a cape. He's very theatrical, and that's why I love him so much. He has all these like physical flourishes, like in his fighting too, which are so theatrical. But yeah, we first are introduced to his boots, like walking in,
and you're like, are those spurs? They're not.
No, they're covered in metal tips, metal heels.
Yeah, and then when he meets this guy, he does this like show of strength, and he kicks way up, and you're kind of like,
and he keeps his leg there.
Yeah, you're kind of like, well, that's not a big deal. Wait a minute, those boots weigh like hundreds of pounds. So it's like
that is tinfoil.
No, I mean like in the reality of the movie.
Yeah, April can be impressed by the narrative happening on screen, as should the audience.
Exactly. And then they have this awesome fight scene. I mean, we don't even need to say it every time, but every time there is a fight scene,
but like
it's
right
amazing.
when it starts, you're like, wow, because they like fight in the ring, and then they got knocked out of the ring, and then they're like
go into the
picking
change
up benches
room
and smashing it on their heads.
Yeah, I will say the ingenuity of using the environment is all over this movie, and that comes from Hong Kong, I'm sure.
Yeah, what's frustrating about a movie like this is like they make this movie and it sits on the shelf with a generic Gary Daniels cover, and people rent it with whatever other trash that nobody made any attempt at while making it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, this is pretty good. And it's like, there is literally nothing in 1997 that looks or feels like this coming out of North American cinema.
Oh, absolutely.
And it just gets brushed away.
Yeah, this is not like generic in any way
It's
whatsoever.
on another level when you compare it to the North American action martial arts movies at the time.
If it was like theatrical and people like paid attention, like their minds would be blown. Like this is not like just lazy schlong.
Would they be blown, or would it just be dismissed as like, this is just dumb action movie stuff?
I think just like the action scenes alone, like the choreography, just the way they're shot, and just the gags.
And the brutality.
Yeah, but just really fun gags.
Because we're introduced at the end of this opening fight. Our villain has metal fingers, and he likes stabbing into people.
It's not revealed until later, because at first you're just like, he's just stabbing into people with his fingers. He must be really strong.
He kills them by like poking them into their chest. But I have to say, these boots with the metal, every time he kicks somebody, it sounds like the sound effect that they've added is like two pieces of metal hitting.
Yeah,
like,
so
clang,
when he kicks
clang,
someone in
clang,
the back,
clang.
it sounds like metal hitting metal, which is hilarious.
It's great.
And I very much enjoy this fight. Ends with him like stabbing him, kicking him in the nuts, causing him to fly up in the air, where the villain holds his victim up in the over his head and looks over at the blood moon.
And he's like,
oh. And that's the other thing.
How long is this blood moon up? Is it just that one day?
it feels like it's up for like a week or two.
Don't you play Zelda? The blood moon rises like every
night.
couple days.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Unlike you, addict, I was able to play Zelda for 2 days, and I went, I'll get back to it, and haven't gone back to it since.
I took 5 days off because I had to, and now I can't.
Have you beaten it yet?
No, but I'm getting there. And now I can't stop playing
In
it.
Zelda, can you hold the bad guy over your head and go, school's out, champ?
Yeah, he goes, school's out.
I love this villain. He's
because
he's having a ball of a time.
I love him.
He doesn't talk too much, but when he does talk, he has just these one-liners.
There's an
that are
amazing
fabulous.
scene late in the movie where like people are running out of a police station to do something, and it cuts to the villain eating a hot dog, watching what's happening, just a big grin on his face.
Yeah, he's everywhere in this movie.
He laughs also a lot, and he laughs
all by himself, just driving a car.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's like a Black Dynamite joke, or like he keeps laughing, and then like it cuts to the next scene, and he's still laughing from like the previous gag. He's like, he's having a ball.
Speaking of having a ball, though, we're introduced to
Jeffries.
Yeah, who is introduced in the film, and if you didn't know any better, you'd assume he was the star of the film.
Yeah.
'Cause he gets kind of like of the bulk of the narrative for like 10 minutes until Gary Daniels comes into the picture.
And he gets a bigger introduction. He's driving a motorcycle,
this is the best.
and then he like looks like it might have been wire assisted, like flips off it and over like the police tape.
Over the police.
I think there's like a funny sound effect too.
And he is like, this is a murder scene, first of all, right? He shows up, he does this spin off of his bike, and he is high-fiving all the cops and laughing.
They love and we need to be clear for people that have not seen this movie. This man sounds exactly like Eddie Murphy.
It's uncanny.
And he looks like him too.
He doesn't do the laugh.
No.
No.
So,
but he's more buff, like he's more
Yeah,
muscular.
he's definitely
and-
bigger. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and-
also, like, apparently that's just what he sounds like. He can't help the way he sounds.
I guess, but maybe the director was like, play it up, the Eddie Murphy. Come on.
Maybe.
And in this scene, he comes onto the murder scene. He cannot stop doing magic tricks. And as an audience member, I'm loving it. Can't get enough of it.
Yeah, and he does a magic trick and it makes like a sound effect. So every so often in this movie, there are non-diegetic sound effects.
And I gotta say, I wish there was more magic, but just when you think it's over near the end, he has another magic trick up his sleeve.
Yeah, he kind of sneezes. Again, there's a dead body on the floor, and he kind of sneezes and pulls like a rose or something out of his nose and gives it to the like lady cop, and then he has like a never-ending handkerchief that just keeps coming out of his jacket.
And like the guy that's like cleaning up the like tape outline on the ground looks at him, he's like, "Oh, you," and like shakes his head.
This is like, I want like a whole movie starring him, and it should be called Magic Cop, or maybe like Magic Cop versus I don't know,
the Bloodmoon.
Yeah, something like that.
Magic Cop and the
Bloodmoon 2, Magic
Boogaloo
something.
Listen, we need to make this a samurai cop hit, and then everybody can get back together, old and wizened.
Unfortunately,
like a Tommy Wiseau.
Can't get the villain back.
No, unfortunately, the villain can't come back,
he
and
died,
he was the real star.
He died in his late 40s, which sucks. He was still working.
Yep, a couple years ago, he passed away, unfortunately, and it was very sudden. It was like a mixture of medication that took him out.
Oh, no shit.
Oh, no.
That's too bad. He is, God, he's so good in this movie. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And
also, is he wearing a wig? What do we think?
I think so.
He's always had long hair like that, though.
Okay, then it's probably
most of
his
his
hair
movies.
then.
I think Ip Man, he had a shorter haircut.
Yeah, but like longish.
I don't know. No, it was like short.
Short. Well, I don't know then.
I don't know. But the good thing about this movie is like in any other movie, Chuck Jeffries would just be the kind of wisecracking comedic sidekick. Who would like look at Gary Daniels like, oh, what is all this kung fu stuff? Like, he's fucking amazing at kung fu himself, like martial arts.
Yeah,
they're equals. Like,
that's the thing about this movie is that the actors are pretty good actors, and they're all doing martial arts.
Serviceable.
Yeah, like
Some
there's
better
some
than others.
stuntmen in this movie, and you can see them obviously
there's
because
a
they're
room
not
full of them
doing
later.
they're not doing like super dangerous. The guy jumps through the window at one point, but everybody in this movie is a martial artist
and really good.
And they're they're like the best.
Mm-hmm.
They're champions, and they can act pretty good.
Well, they can act fun, and I think that's most important in one of these
certainly
movies.
Deliver the dialogue.
Because, for example, the next kill is against a wrestler.
Yeah.
You guys are probably not familiar with
Rob
him. Rob Van Dam is his name.
He was after my time of watching like WWF.
Yeah.
But
I think he was an ECW wrestler at first, and he did maybe come to WWE for a while, and he was known as like a high flyer, so he'd do like a lot of wild moves and twists and turns and things like that.
He
Yeah,
definitely
I
looks like a wrestler.
I'm not really familiar with him.
Huge.
But we were watching it, and I was like looking at the chat, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, it's Rob Van Dam!" And I'm like,
And so he's
really
making out with a lady on a pinball machine.
Hey, we've skipped over
We
one
skipped
of the best
the
characters
introduction
of Frank Gorshin.
Oh, I thought maybe
Yeah.
that was after this, but
No,
we
it's
got to
before
get
that.
to Frank Gorshin.
Yeah, so Chuck Jeffries goes back to the police headquarters, and this could have easily, again, have been just another like generic angry police captain role, but like Frank Gorshin is so good.
He brings it up.
Holy jeez,
Another
does he ever
level.
like? It's like another level of like anger.
He just screaming the entire time in a fun way.
Yeah, it's hilarious to watch.
And he's enunciating, and also I felt like the scenes he was in, he wasn't given much direction, so he kind of doesn't know, like he doesn't really stay on his mark necessarily. He's kind of just walking around in the cameras,
I
like
think maybe
handheld
Frank
at
is
one
playing
point.
to the beat of his own drum.
Yeah, I mean he's old at this
He may
point.
not be able to take direction at this point in his career.
He was the Riddler in the Batman.
He's the Riddler, an
series.
amazing like stand-up comedian from like way back in the day.
Really? I did not know he was a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, he was like a kind of Don Rickles type.
Right.
Huh, interesting.
But even in like his little like cameos that he has, like he showed up in 12 Monkeys for a few minutes as like a doctor, and he does some amazingly funny like little physical comedy bits with like his cigarette. Just the way he puts his cigarette in his mouth is so funny.
Oh wow, I haven't seen that movie in a long
Here
time.
he is just like screaming. It is like he goes
Yeah.
like, "I want you to give me results." He's like frothing at the mouth, and he's like, there's like one scene where he's yelling so hard he's like sweating at the end of the scene. It's really good. It could have
Frank
been
Gorshin will die for the art of Bloodmoon.
Oh, yeah.
He's giving it his all.
That's why it was so great to see him, a veteran actor, be so game,
Oh yeah, he's not like he doesn't think he's above the material. He's like,
he's not like John Malkovich in all those geezer teasers he's been in lately, where John Malkovich literally looks like a robot.
Oh,
He's
my
like,
God.
"Hello, how's it going? You need to find the."
Well, he was acting pretty big in Fool's Paradise. Update, everyone! I saw Fool's Paradise,
And how was it,
It
April?
was pretty disappointing.
it's not good.
It wasn't very good, and I feel terrible. But yeah, John Malkovich shows up for one scene, and he is yelling his lungs off.
All right, there you go.
But anyway,
He's Gorshining it up.
That's like impossible to say. He's Gorshinizing it.
He's giving it his all, even though whatever he might be a little better than the material. He never thinks that.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Then we get to Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, the Rob Van Dam scene. He's getting busy with a lady on a pinball machine.
He's like molesting this woman on this ping pong.
Well, she's into it.
pinball.
Isn't
she
she?
is at first, and then she's like, "Oh, I have to go do something," and he was just like, "Fine, bitch," or something. He calls her a bitch, and then Blood Moon comes in.
Then we see the Phantom of the Opera.
We should
come in.
just call him Blood Moon. I mean, he
Yeah,
doesn't,
Maybe
he doesn't have a name.
Bloodmoon is a good man. we'll return to that later on.
No, because he murders the girl in the scene for no reason.
Oh, that's right.
he
well,
breaks her
she's
neck.
probably a jerk too. We don't know her that well.
Yeah, so
she sure as hell wasn't a champion.
I was calling him a hypocrite here because I know how the movie ends, and we'll get to it. But yeah, so they have fucking an amazing fight. It's so good.
He's throwing this big guy, Van Damme, all over the place. He's hitting poles. He's getting thrown over the bar, and glass is going everywhere. And there's like some funny facial expressions.
Yeah,
and-
Van Damme is like mugging up the store
Yeah.
his life
Big time.
depended on. He's like, whoa, ah,
Yeah, he goes through a window at the end, and that's where you can see his stunt double. But like before that, he gets flipped over.
Yeah,
Blood
this
Moon.
is something I've never seen in my life. It's like a backflip neck break. He kind of like takes Rob Van Dam's body, flips it over
was huge.
over his back, and then like breaks his neck.
Yeah, I feel it's like a wire assisted gag. It looks like that maybe the flip
clearly,
was
yeah.
a dummy as well, because if you watch it like shot by shot, you see the body flip, but then he's already landed at that point. So
Oh,
just Van
okay,
Damme
okay.
shakes in his hands. But through the magic of cinema, it looks like it's one continuous movement.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
And there's some good wire work in this movie that's more subtle than, say, something like The One. But
How dare you?
But when they need to use it, they use it, and it's
we
perfect.
turned on The One now. We love it. It's our favorite movie.
Yeah,
yeah, this movie is definitely lacking in the rats with the huge testicles.
I guess so. If it has any
As some people have pointed out, all rats have huge testicles.
Do they? I don't know.
That's what someone told. Let's not open this can of worms.
word for
I
it.
took care of my friend's two rats,
And they did not have massive
it was
testes.
Sunny and Cher.
Well, maybe they were girls.
Or no, it was Starsky and Hutch. So I think one was male and female. I do not remember the male having big testicles like that. That's
Maybe
just
it was
me.
fixed. You can get rats fixed, right?
I guess so, or they'd have baby rats all the time.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. So,
You may be wondering at this point, where's Gary Daniels? When is he going to be introduced?
Well, Frank Gorshin says to Chuck,
well, we have an autopsy scene. So they're
Yeah.
looking at Rob Van Dam's body, and he's got like poke holes. Like I guess he did the finger thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't he like put the fingers like through his elbows too at one point?
I think so,
Rob Van
yeah.
Dam? And then the mortician is like, he died in extreme pain. Every his bones were shattered.
She also says, I don't see any mutilation after. So as soon as she kills them,
Or he kills
he's done or something like that.
He's done with the bodies.
Okay. Just so we know, no post-mortem mutilation.
Okay, good to know.
That's her job.
But Frank Gorshin has a really funny line because at this point, it's established that Bloodmoon has been sending the police department like emails, like an image, like an animated
with like the worst font ever.
What does it say?
It's like 3. It looks like the Goosebumps.
Blood on the
font.
moon is what it says.
Yeah, it's kind of written in drippy blood. And then Frank Gorshin said, "We got some techno freak out there sending computer messages."
He's not up on new technology. Keep in mind, everyone, this came out in 97.
You were going to say 87.
Yeah, because it feels like 87.
When I said 97 today, April was
like, what?
What?
Yeah.
This is the 80s, right? And I'm like, no.
But the technology as well in this film, like you did not have, you could not load an image as fast as they do in Bloodmoon.
Well, they make up technology. There's like a live stream several times that did not exist at the time.
Oh yeah, and it's like higher quality than you would get today.
Yeah.
It's like, so now we're introduced to our hero.
Okay, but before where he's introduced, Frank Gorshin says, "You got to get this cop. He's a mind hunter."
Oh yeah.
Guys, I gotta say, if we go through every scene in this movie, we'll be here for 3 hours.
I know, but the whole movie's so good.
Okay.
Because we're only 18 minutes in at this
My
point.
question is, though, does Gary Daniels strike you as a mind hunter?
No. Well, we're introduced to him as a gentle giant as he's playing with his daughter on the beach, and he's up to his neck in sand, and he sneezes and bursts out of the sand like the Hulk.
In slow motion.
Yeah, this is.
And he's like,
I was getting like Commando vibes, you know.
yeah, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, the intro.
As there's like gentle, like doo 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 doo
But
music playing.
He is dressed, so it's him and his little daughter like wandering around on the pier or something, eating ice cream. He is dressed like a 12-year-old. Like,
Well, he's wearing like a muscle shirt, so like no sleeves, white shorts. Like, is he embarrassed of his body at the beach?
tucked in, like the shirt is tucked into his big shorts, and he's got like big white high tops, and he has this bowl cut through the entire movie.
Yeah.
And we see him do a backflip on the beach, and he's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he just looks like an overgrown child.
Yeah.
Which is part of his charm, I guess.
Back in the 90s, we all had bowl cuts.
There's a
that
lot
was the
of
style at the time.
Yeah, a lot of like shirts.
I actually did have a bowl cut, but I think it was when I was like a child.
I think everybody in the 90s like tucked their shirts into pants.
Well, also
and
the
shorts.
T-shirt is gigantic.
Yeah.
but I guess
It
that
was the style at the time,
I know it's
April.
hard to recall. I know we all wore gigantic T-shirts.
Yeah, he
Oversized
looks
clothes.
like a child who took his dad's shirt.
Yes.
And is wearing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like the armpits are like hanging
And like his
down.
socks are like pulled up to his knees almost, and they're white.
And then also every pair of pants he wears in this movie is like hiked up to like almost his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
armpits.
it's like right under his chest, pretty much.
Like he's like Urkeling it. We were all big fans of Steve Urkel at the time. Did I do that?
At that
Okay,
time.
so what's our next big scene?
He beats up some bikers that.
Oh
He
yeah,
beats up
that's
some
kind of
bikers on
not that important.
So we cut to the bad guy's lair, and we see him screwing on his like metal fingers.
So it's like an Inspector Gadget situation. So he cut off 2 of his fingers, and then he has metal ones that screw in, and then he covers that with a skin-colored cover. So they look like real fingers.
I hate to have to go back on you guys after saying, let's hurry up. We can't skip the introduction scene of Chuck Jeffries and Gary Daniels. We learn that his wife is divorced.
Yes.
And most important of all, Gary Daniels takes his shirt off, reads some files, sweats, goes, no.
Oh, yeah.
And at one point throws all of the papers up in the air and goes, no.
No, he says like, not again.
Because he has like a
PTSD or something.
from being tortured by someone. I forget if they said
Yeah,
who.
I don't think it's the Bloodmoon. We don't really see who
No,
it
it's
is.
not pretty clear. It's just somebody is cutting his chest because he has
Yeah.
these scars on his body or something.
Never go into that, but so he refuses to help on the case, but then
Yeah, it's the hero's journey. First, it's the rejection of the call.
But in this scene, he keeps glancing at a photo that he has on his dresser or whatever.
Of the Pringles man,
Yeah.
a guy with a big mustache.
This is like the biggest mustache. It's like Saddam Hussein or like the Pringles man.
I think this guy was in Super Fights. I could be wrong, but
maybe.
I thought maybe he was like the sensei in Super Fights, the guy they put a big white.
that's right,
Put a
there
white.
is a
They put a
sensei
white
in
wig
Super
on
Fights.
him,
The father.
right? Yeah,
That's
Or he
right.
might be someone's
Yeah, it
grandfather.
could be, it could be.
Anyway, so he's the next character, and he is a sensei of a dojo, kendo school, I think.
In his introduction, it's like, okay, this has to be a fake mustache. Like, it looks,
I mean,
it looks so
maybe.
fake.
It looks like a little broom. Like if you drew like a cartoon mustache,
Yeah.
that's what it would look like.
I don't know. Well, people on your chat were swearing that it was real. They're like, no, man, when it's like growing out like that, it's got to be real.
It does not look real.
It looks so
Like,
fake. But it's like, why even have one then? I don't get it.
Well,
it looks like there's going to be a joke. It's like, take that ridiculous thing off. And then he like pulls the mustache out.
Or you like in the fight, it gets like kicked off and goes like flying or something.
well,
Yeah. Or he takes it off and uses it as a weapon.
So this is the
they find it in the
scene
crime scene and then they put like a chalk outline around
around
it.
the mustache.
Around the mustache.
There isn't a chalk. They used white tape in this instead of chalk. Is that something that they do?
No idea.
Maybe because like the first guy died like half on a mat, so you can't draw chalk on that. Anyway, just a little thing I noticed.
All I'm thinking of now is like the Naked Gun, where where the people go into the water and they have like floating chalk outlines.
Floating
in the water.
outline.
Is that in the first one?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's OJ.
Yeah, that's right.
Because he's the one who falls into
When he
it.
falls off the boat.
A man who knows chalk outlines.
Oh boy, does he ever!
So anyway,
caused it.
We're going to dust off our OJ jokes in the year of our Lord 2023.
Monica Lewinsky, blah blah blah.
well, so the sensei guy gets
Yeah, have you
ambushed by
seen
Bloodmoon.
these mistyped headlines? I can't do a Jay Leno. Colin, take it away.
Yeah, so thinking of these headlines. Let me get my jalopy.
Please help me. I'm on fire.
So much denim.
Speaking of which, Chuck, I almost said Chuck Liddell. Chuck Cop in this Magic Cop wears a Canadian tuxedo for most of this movie.
Oh, he does.
Yes.
That's the anyway. So Sensei is approached by
dojo.
Bloodmoon, and this is the live stream, right? Because they send
Yeah.
it to the cops,
Yeah.
and Chuck's
Okay.
like, I know
we
that
need to be
place.
clear for anybody that's younger than us. If you were sent a link in 1997, it would just be pixelated.
Oh, yeah.
You would pause it and be like, I hope it can buffer.
It would
Yeah.
be,
and it wouldn't.
It would be so small. It would be like
Playing on your real player. Like,
Yep,
yeah, it
that's
would
exactly
be,
what you'd be
it'd
using.
be like 30 pixels by 10 pixels, and it would just be like
No,
it would
instead, in
buffering.
this, it's like video camera perfect footage.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, what is this? They're like eating popcorn and watching it.
Ooh, a kung fu movie. I love
Yeah,
those.
and then they realize it's real, and then he's like, "I know where this is. I'm gonna go there." And then he goes, "Hey, make a copy of this if you can." And she's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "None of this is possible.
No
but,
technology existed
No,
like this.
maybe for a hacker, but we'll meet a hacker later. Anyway, so
This fight is fantastic.
Well, again, they're all
Like,
fantastic.
Bloodmoon shows
yeah,
up.
goes
they're
without
clanging
saying.
their swords together. Giant sparks are
Yeah,
flying
so
all
okay,
over the
so
place.
we're talking about this. April, you were asking me about how would they do would those sparks be added in post?
Yeah, those are optical sparks.
It looks fantastic.
You can do it as well. Usually, when you were doing something like Highlander, you tie the swords to electrical
To a battery,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not how they're doing it in this movie.
Okay.
They're actually optical sparks.
It looks really, really
cool.
good.
So it
And-
is done
yeah.
in post.
Fuck the
Yeah, so if you like
choreography.
pause it on the things, like it'll look. I don't know if they like maybe they took a frame of a, because it's only one frame, right? So maybe they could get away with that.
Yeah, but it looks great, but just the choreography is so fucking good. It just keeps escalating. And,
Yeah,
oh
and
my
so
God.
again, like he stabs him, and then he like throws him like into another room, and then like does like a backflip onto his chest,
he does a backflip,
like
yeah.
landing on him on his big metal shoes.
And then he goes, yeah, and he puts his hands up in the air really high.
It's so funny.
Chuck Jeffries arrives, and
He
just-
arrived just at the right time because any sooner and
Yeah.
he would have been blown up.
He's
Yeah, that's right, because a gigantic explosion goes off, which looks like that. Let's say the stuntman covered in explosion-proof stuff is caught right in the middle of and pulled on a wire out of
Oh
it.
my God, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, he goes to open the door, and it's like the whole fucking door just goes up.
like,
And
guys, I want movies to do this again. Are they just
know.
never gonna do this again?
No, they're not going to do it
This is
anymore.
too dangerous.
And
they
I
have
don't even
the-
think it's really
They
that
have
dangerous.
the technology to not do it, so they don't. But I want real explosions, and I want real stuntmen.
you want
and
Vin
women.
Diesel
to-
driving down a real dam,
Yes.
outrunning and a real
Well,
explosion.
I will say that like Michael Bay still does real explosions when he does his stuff.
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess Ambulance was kind of full of that.
Yep.
So good for him, I guess.
But like a CGI explosion, there's nothing less exciting than that.
know.
I agree.
I mean,
unless it's a CGI car flipping over Mark Wahlberg who's dodging out of the way. In that case, it's good. Put it in every trailer of the big hit.
Some of my finest work.
So Gary Daniels gets a phone call.
Finally, they're assigned as partners.
Yeah, and he's like, your sensei is dead, and he runs away.
Yeah, so they show up in Gorshin's office, and he's like, "You guys are partners." And this is like, it feels like halfway through the movie.
It's like
33 minutes into the movie.
33 minutes.
Yeah, it's a while.
Yeah,
wow.
And
there's still 68 minutes left.
They don't get along. But they may learn to get along by the end of the movie.
It feels like they should get along, and Chuck Jeffries is just being a jerk just because the movie needs them to not be
he's like,
friends.
you quit because you were scared. Now I can't have a partner who's scared. And so they had like competition.
And Gary Daniels should be like, I was mutilated on the job.
Yeah.
Look at all these scars.
and
Somebody tortured me.
I'm not like you, Chuckles, who's like doing magic tricks all over the crime
Isn't it
scene.
funny that Chuck Jeffries' name in the movie is just Chuck?
Yeah, I love it. I love it when
Jackie Chan.
when actors have their real names.
They both they go investigating the blown up dojo.
They get confused. They have a fight against each other.
Which they don't recognize each other. Okay, so now we're introduced to my least favorite character in the movie, which is the sensei's daughter. And like, she's fine. In a movie that's fantastic, she's the only character who I just don't really care for.
She's a very bad actress.
Yeah. She's probably the worst actress in the movie.
But
do you hate how short she is, April? Is that why you hate her?
No.
She's
because
very
she can
short.
still kick ass. So
she calls Gary Daniels, Uncle Ken, how are you?
Yeah.
She's like, I live here.
yeah, it's like, I hope she wasn't there when the explosion went off if she lives there.
No, she's just coming home. What
And
happened?
her name is Kelly. And
hello, this is my niece, Kelly.
yeah, and so later they're trying to investigate the bad guys, and I don't know if the hacker scene is before or after this, but
It's right after this.
It's before.
Someone is like chasing them in a car, and they're going to a strip club, and they're
Yeah,
like,
that's
"It's
after the
Kelly."
hacker
Okay,
scene.
let's talk about the hacker scene. So we meet this like Paul Giamatti-esque guy. And he's like,
Paul Giamatti's like, oh, ouch.
yeah, sorry. Apologies to Paul Giamatti. He's much more attractive than this man. But he's...
This guy loves eating hot dogs. They're all over his computer.
Yeah.
He's got a Hawaiian shirt just open.
He has like a pile of hot dogs on top of his monitor.
And he's pissing
Yes,
into
he
a
does.
thermos and grabbing and eating the hot dogs while he's pissing. And also he's watching an FMV sex porn.
sex
Yes.
porn.
That better be running off a CD-ROM to get that kind of resolution.
Yeah, it's really funny, actually.
It's
and like
disgusting.
his whole room is covered in action figures and
So,
dirty plates and stuff.
It's like Gary Daniels knows him from like a previous case. He's like, I know a hacker. So like for some reason, like the killer knows that they're there and like contacts
he
them.
knows everything.
Sends them another like, there's blood on the moon, like animated GIF.
And they try and trace the
Gary
signal.
Daniels is like hacking. He's like talking to him. Who are you? Why do you
He's not
kill?"
hacking. He's just talking to him.
He's just
Yeah.
typing.
Yeah.
And the
And
guy-
he's trying to chase this signal, and it comes from all over the place. And then they get an address. Woohoo.
They get an address, and then this is like a running.
And we hate stairs as they run down the
I have
stairs and
never
jump
seen-
over them.
It's like they cannot be bothered to take the rest of the stairs. They're always like
Yeah.
flipping off of them or jumping off of them.
Yeah, so they get in the car, and then the car won't start, so they decide to run, and they're like,
That's a funny gag.
comedically
So like
running.
they dramatically enter the car and then it just will not start, so they have to run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it happens like a couple of times.
I'm
But
saying,
it's,
this movie has comedy in it.
it's like that Rocky movie when it's like Apollo Creed and Rocky are running on the beach.
Yeah, and they're
Yes.
like challenging each other and they're running.
Yeah, and he keeps running faster. And so then we meet a bunch of
It's a-
Hollywood stuntmen.
A room full of stuntmen.
And in another fight scene, and there's no shortage of action in this. And again, it's everything that we've already said. It's people are flying through windows and throwing things at each other, and it's fantastic. And because they think that the Bloodmoon is there, but he's not.
He's not. So yeah.
So it's just a
No,
big
because his
fake-out.
computer's in a closet and it laughs at them and then explodes?
Yeah.
Or do they shoot it?
I think it
can't
explodes or
remember.
something like that. But it's just like
Yeah, it explodes itself.
he's always like 5 steps ahead of everybody. He knows.
Yeah.
He's the original Joker.
But I don't get it. He's amazing at kung fu and martial arts. I keep saying kung fu. It's martial arts, but and also he's like a master hacker as well. Like,
yeah,
come on now.
And he has a fantastic hairdo, so he's got it all.
He's got it all. Yeah.
And why does he need to go around killing these karate guys just to prove he's the best? I guess.
Oh, I love where they stop at a strip club.
Oh, because the niece is like following Gary Daniels.
Following them, and they want to lose her. And like the niece gets to do a fight, and Bloodmoon is just at that strip club.
Yeah, at this point in the movie, Bloodmoon is just in the background of scenes, and they comically cut to him because they don't know what he looks like.
Because he wears that little domino mask.
Exactly.
They don't know.
But like she beats up a bunch of guys at the strip club while they just leave her there.
They take off because they're like, whatever. And Gary Daniels is like, oh, she's a world champion. She can handle herself.
Don't say that so loud, Gary Daniels. Bloodmoon heard it.
Yeah, Bloodmoon is like, world champion.
He's like, I hate champions, which at this point has not been established in the movie, but you can probably guess why I'm fighting all of these fighters.
Yeah, and I mean, then there's a scene at her house where she goes home, and Bloodmoon confronts her in her house, and she almost kind of gets her ass beat, but then the friends, Gary Daniels and Chuck comes in,
and this is fantastic. This whole scene is
the vending machine.
Well, it leads to that, but this fight scene is fucking amazing. It's like 3 versus 1.
Yeah,
it's so good. Doesn't he do like...
I feel bad for Bloodmoon because before the fight starts, he's like hiding in the closet and his boots are sticking out.
He actually is on the ceiling at one point.
Yes, he's on the ceiling and he's like, oh boy, I hope I don't get found out.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, this fight scene is so good. And then they like... Okay, this is my favorite thing. And this is something that you put in the trailer before you showed it at the Royal that one time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, he's hiding behind a vending machine in the hallway. And then Chuck Jeffries is like shooting... as Bloodmoon is like pushing the vending machine at them, and then Gary Daniels like leaps up on a doorknob and does this like spin flip over the thing. It's so good.
Yeah, and then Chuck Jeffries gets hit by the vending machine and goes crashing through a door.
Right through the door. Yeah. It's amazing.
It's like he would just get smushed, but instead the door just collapsed.
This is the world's largest hallway as well.
It's really
move
wide.
And change because they're shooting on a set to accommodate the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, this is supposed to be New York. It's like they would never have a hallway.
Is it supposed to be New York? Because they're clearly shooting in L.A., right?
Yeah, but they have a montage.
Yeah, they say New York. But it doesn't,
okay.
And they show the 2 towers at one point as well.
Well, they do have a montage right after the scene where they go hunting for the guy.
Right, they're in Times Square. I remember this now.
It's the only sequence where they're actually in New York.
So they did shoot there, yeah. And this is where Bloodmoon keeps showing up, like where they are.
He bumps them and then like turns around eating ice cream, like.
Yeah, he looks right into the camera and he's like, "They don't know who I am."
It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. And then we get a scene where like Gary Daniels goes to the fair with his family. I guess he's trying to make up with his like.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of boring. He tries to make up and he does, and he kicks
is it
one of those
boring
things.
when he plays the feat of strength and just uses his kick to hit the thing and then he wins the prize?
Yeah, instead of like the giant mallet. That's pretty.
The guy must have been like, "You got to use the mallet, my man. That doesn't count."
Yeah,
and he's just like, "I'll tell you something. I'm gonna use my legs."
No, he'd be like, "I'll tell you something. It's me, Gary Daniels."
He couldn't hurt a fly.
We're getting like
he could hurt a fly. He's gonna show up at my door and be like, "Were you making fun of my voice?" And then he just like flips me over his leg and like breaks me.
Yeah, I was getting like Darkman vibes, and the guy hands him like the pink elephant. He's like, "Just take the fucking elephant."
Well, also you were saying Gary Daniels' thing is splits, and he doesn't do the splits in this movie.
I don't think is this thing. I know he can do the splits.
He does
but I don't
them
know if
a
his things.
lot.
Seen him in multiple movies where he is doing the splits over like 2 chairs that are like separated.
Because like when he jumps over the vending machine, he does do the splits to get over it.
Yeah. Speaking of that giant hallway.
Yeah. Oh, he's really good. And so this is where they like find out that the guy is hunting down champions.
Yeah, because he murdered someone who wrote on the ground CHA.
Yeah,
and the chat went wild, being like, "What could that be?"
chain.
Chanson, word for song in French.
But sure as hell ain't champagne. And it takes them so long to figure out that he's killing martial arts champions. It's like they should have got that with the first two.
Yeah, so it turned out, I guess they're all students of the sensei that he murdered with the mustache.
Yeah,
it's weird that there's no like flashback of Bloodmoon being embarrassed by them or something like that,
there's
or them pulling a Carrie-like prank at him on him at the competition.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the motivation is kind of missing. They kind of talk about it how all these people were champions. It's so everyone's dead except these two people. And so they have a Silence of the Lambs situation where they go to the one guy.
And this is the scene where Bloodmoon is like eating a hot dog, having a blast. He's driving by himself in the car, being like,
Like laughing.
Yeah.
yeah.
I love
And
him.
he's free to go kill Kelly while the other guys.
Well, Kelly follows him to his house.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
But yeah, the other guys arrest just the other guy from the picture who just happened to be doing cocaine. So he does it, and then the cops come, and he's like, "Oh shit!" because he thinks they're gonna arrest him for that. I think, and he jumps. Does he jump out the window?
I ironically have the same long hair as Bloodmoon.
Yeah, he looks very similar to Bloodmoon. But yeah, so Kelly ends
Everyone
up going to
jumps out of
Bloodmoon's
windows.
house. He's like, "You're a champion, aren't you?" And he kills her. He beats the shit out of her and kills her.
Well, she could be in the hospital. We don't know. Is it confirmed that she's dead?
Yeah,
I
because
don't
Gary
recall
Daniels shows
funeral,
up and he takes
but-
her pulse, and then he just loses his mind
he does
in
say,
rage.
So she's dead.
I mean, don't worry. The movie then brings up the fun factor again, where Gary Daniels see a photo of him with his family that then fades to Bloodmoon being with the family instead.
Yeah, he's being
I
like
can't-
taunted from his computer.
Like I can't pick a favorite thing because everything in this movie
You gotta
is
pick one.
amazing. But I think
Everything is so good.
I'm gonna go with this picture because
it's so funny.
It's
Hilarious.
He looks so serious too,
yeah,
like holding a.
and like so. What happened is like
He's like angrily with his family.
Bloodmoon sends him this picture of Gary Daniels and his family with a message, something like, "Family can get hurt, ha ha ha," and then it fades into Bloodmoon replacing him.
Yeah.
So he somehow got this picture and then photoshopped himself into it.
He's a master hacker. He can do anything.
But what's great about it is when
I gotta
they were
say, this
filming
Photoshop,
it's good,
looks,
right?
and it is a Photoshop. It's not. They didn't take the same picture twice.
No.
Looks better than any Photoshop in a modern movie.
I think
100%.
they took the same picture twice.
One-
when
No, they
filmed-
didn't.
when
If
they
you
filmed
look at the
this.
kid and wife, because I'm actually flipping through it right now, they look exactly the same.
yeah.
Well, maybe they just didn't move.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, no one move an inch.
This has
Listen,
to,
they got a guy who can do sparks, who can do photos.
yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Well, this has to be the thumbnail for the podcast.
I
him
can't get
looking
it.
angry.
I can't get it because the copy on YouTube is too low res. So I'd have to get
Oh,
it.
no, still
I
of it.
gotta
I can
get-
DVD.
Yeah, Justin, I need
You can
to
have it.
send
It's
it
great.
to me.
So then Gary Daniels, basically his like family is kidnapped by Bloodmoon, and then they meet at a factory, and we have a good old.
An
Oh, but
old- an old
Bloodmoon does the
factory.
best trick. It's like, oh, your friend is visiting.
Yeah, yeah. He goes to the wife, and then she calls him, and then he comes in wearing a nice sweater, like a sweater vest, and
Yeah,
so she immediately.
that's how you know
trusts-
he's innocent.
Yeah, and she's like, "What?" And he's like, "If you can, get out." And like as soon as she starts acting suspicious, he just picks up the phone, like
He's like, "Hello, champ."
Ken or champion." Yeah, and then cut to them being tied up to a thing of
Yeah.
dynamite.
He actually says like, "Meet me at the foundry." Like no instructions. Gary Daniels knows exactly what he means.
There's only one foundry.
What if he
in
went to the
town.
wrong one?
It's supposed to be in New York.
They're
yeah.
both. It just cut to them like looking at their watches, like, where is he?
Where is he?
Is there another foundry in town? I wonder.
Yeah, and then doesn't like Chuck say like don't go, and then he's like I have to, and then he's like wait, and then he like throws his gun at him.
Yeah,
Kick
because
his
Gary
ass.
Daniels like, I don't use guns.
Yeah, and he's like kick his ass, man. But of course he shows up to help him because they're
this,
partners.
This fight again is fantastic, and there's so many good gags in it. There's that one part where like Gary Daniels falls over the edge of the thing.
Yeah,
and
and he gets wrapped up in a rope, and then Chuck Jeffrey catches it and has to fight Bloodmoon while holding on to Gary
Yeah.
Daniels.
and then he ties the rope to his waist so he can fight
Yeah.
Bloodmoon. It's fucking amazing. amazing.
The ingenuity, again, I've just repeating.
just really
And I
fun.
just like, I don't know how like the people who made this movie aren't just like, why are we doing this? This will not be appreciated in 1997.
I don't know. Well,
They weren't cynical. They actually
they weren't.
cared, you
they're
know?
giving it their all. And
Yeah.
it's just so much more inventive. Any one of these scenes is just so much better than anything.
Like even
Yeah.
compare it to someone who I love with making action movies, like Van Damme. His stuff is so stiff
Yeah.
and like.
Well, it's just that it
nowhere
all
near
comes
as
down
good.
to the directing, I think, too,
Yep.
and like the choreography. And it's just like the directors just didn't know how to shoot this stuff. I think this director does. Absolutely.
Yeah, dude.
Not only like the choreography, but how to shoot it and like how
Well,
to edit
actually, I
it.
was going to say that Van Damme is the villain in No Retreat, No Surrender Part 1.
Oh yeah,
He's
that's
not
right.
really the villain,
Kinda,
though.
yeah.
Isn't he the final boss at the
No,
end?
his boss is the
Oh.
villain, but
He's like the henchman.
he's like the second, and then like I think our hero fights him.
He does.
Yeah, at the end. That's how it
Yeah.
was the final match, but I haven't seen that
Might
movie in a
have
long
been,
time.
but yeah, I
Yeah,
forget.
yeah.
Why watch No Retreat, No Surrender when I could watch No Retreat, No Surrender 3, Blood Brothers?
Yeah, that's
I've still
great.
never seen 2.
Starring
It's not
Joseph
that
Campanella.
good. Richard Norton, Cynthia Rothrock. Yeah, it's
I
fine.
do love Cynthia.
Aw.
Okay, so the final climax.
So yeah, the
All right, I'm saving my favorite thing for the final moments of this movie.
yeah, because like the wife and daughter are tied up, and they have like dynamite tied to them with a timer, and it says like dynamite on it. It's like
And a
Wile E.
big
Coyote like
countdown.
dynamite.
And we need to be clear, like this fight scene is wild. There's like 7 different locations.
Oh my
They
God.
get kicked out of a window. They're
Yeah.
fighting in the gravel. Gary Daniels like Jackie Chan's up the wall to try to save his family.
Yeah, that's right.
he
And then
loses his pink finger covers, so now he just has metal fingers.
and he's like poking them through like pipes with
Yeah,
steam.
his fingies are going into things.
And then Gary Daniels finally like turns the tables and gets like a metal pole, and he starts hitting him with it, and it's like the first thing that's like actually hurting Bloodmoon.
and he breaks Bloodmoon's arm.
My only weakness, more metal. Other than that, I'd be okay.
Clang, clang, clang. Chuck Jeffries gets injured. You think he's dead.
He gets the fingy into his chest.
Oh yeah. So does
or
Gary
his
Daniels, I think.
stomach or something. And so he looks pretty dead.
And this
but is he?
countdown, well, Gary Daniels eventually like bests him. We get a
And he falls like
we get a dummy fall,
yeah,
which is great.
He falls like over the
I
edge.
think even more than the dummy fall, there's a really funny shot of Gary Daniels catching himself on the edge of the building.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I sent you guys a still. He's like, whoa, like full Mr. Magoo or like Liam Neeson.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's really funny. And then he's running, and I'd seen this movie before.
And you forgot how it
I
ended?
forgot how it ended, and I was on the edge of my seat because they milk this ending. Like he's running, there's seconds left
It's
on the
slow
timer.
motion. How is he going to be able to
Slow
like
motion.
diffuse it somehow?
Well,
or-
and then
do freeze frames.
there's only so much time left, and it gets to a point where she goes, stop, like stop,
there's no
stop
time
walking
left."
towards us because you'll blow up too. And yeah, it freeze frames on their screaming faces, and he jumps towards
And I'm like,
them.
oh my god, did they die? And I'm like, I've seen this before, and I didn't
I knew
remember.
that I did. I remember.
like, does it have like a dark ending where it's like,
Yeah, I didn't know.
No way.
And then
no, it has the best ending where it goes off. And what's this? Confetti? What's going on?
And I thought, and this is how I remembered it, that Magic Cop Chuck somehow replaced the dynamite with a magic trick. Wouldn't that make more sense?
No, not
I
really.
mean, that'd be weird, but
no, that would make more sense. But
instead we get Bloodmoon on a recording go, ha ha ha, I don't kill kids. My favorite thing.
and he also says like, I don't hurt the innocent.
No
He's been
slaughter-
hurting innocent people this whole movie.
no slaughter of the innocent.
No slaughter of the
including
innocent.
the 15-year-old blonde champion.
Well, she was a champion.
She chose to be a champion.
Yes.
All right. Well, what about that guy's girlfriend?
Yeah, he broke her neck at the beginning.
Oh, that's right. Well, she did
Hypocrite.
the sin of.
She was a champion bartender, I think.
I guess.
Yeah, he like finds champions. It doesn't matter even what
He
it
looked-
is.
he looked- he
Like,
looked behind the
you're
bar
a
and there's, like,
champion
yeah, her getting-
finger boarder.
Her getting like
so you gotta
number one,
die.
number one beer slinger in the county.
Be a slinging champion.
Yeah.
Do you think he killed her like with beer slinging?
Yeah.
Or maybe she was like a champion, like neck cracker or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I must best you in your championship skill.
It's a compulsion. But what's also funny is while this recording, which is by the way on a little tiny tape recorder a la Saw actually.
Yeah, but how did
and then they
press played on
no one pressed play. And then it
did it automatically. He's a master
hacker. It cuts to
hacker.
his dead body on the ground while this thing is playing, just to hammer home that he is talking.
This
to
is
them
who's talking
from
right
beyond the
now.
grave.
I'm no child. No slaughter of the innocents. Oh wait, I killed that.
You know what?
I killed that
Bad
girl.
guys don't get to laugh enough anymore.
They don't.
No way. And then Chuck comes out of the window and gives a thumbs up. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And as is often the case in these wonderful 80s or 90s movies, cut straight to credits.
Oh, love it. Movie's over.
You have
Let's
said
get out
everything.
of here.
No fucking like whatever, like denouement or whatever.
Nothing.
Like another 40 minutes of like wrap up. Nothing. Right to credits. Great. Perfect.
And that's the movie, and it's fantastic.
This movie. Chef's kiss.
I wonder if people are like, I like it when they do bad movies, because then they can be like, I can't believe we watched that. Then April's like, I liked it. And we're like, what? April, how could you? How dare you?
Well, you know, we try and have different flavors of things on the show, and we can't hate everything. And in fact,
No, well, I hate nothing.
I don't hate anything. That's not
That's
true.
a lie. That's a lie.
I have hated things we've done.
This is a movie that deserves the attention. I think.
Yeah, more people should be talking about this. More
Yeah.
people should have seen this, which is why
I
it's
feel
so great
like
you
it's
played
weird that Red Letter Media hasn't done this.
I want to
This
bring it
feels like,
down.
it. Yeah, it definitely.
I credit Justin DeClue for introducing
well, they
me to
like
this
something
film.
like The Sweeper,
I-
which is
I-
not that far off from something
Yeah,
like this.
and I know they have super fights on VHS.
And they've never watched it, eh?
Well, they
No,
have a
it's
lot
just-
of movies.
It's just been there. And I
Yeah, they have a lot of
can't
movies.
get to
I
everything.
flagged it last time I was there. I was like, oh, you guys have super fights.
I didn't even know they had it.
And they're like, Colin, we live in a prison of our own making.
We're hoarders.
Every good movie just reminds us of the horrors we go through.
Okay, well, I have to pick it. Next time I go down, I want to either pick this or
Hopefully
super
Good
fights.
double
Super
bill.
fights.
Super fights. Don't let the river beast get you.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. And Crystal Heart.
And Crystal Heart. Yeah. I wonder if they get bored with Crystal. But Crystal Heart.
That one scene.
That one scene.
I know. I've been listening to the soundtrack at work.
Soundtrack rules. I've been listening to it
it's
too.
great.
Speaking of things that you played during your marathon,
That was that scene that I've never seen anything
honestly,
like
I'm
that
still
in a
thinking
movie.
about it. It's haunting me. But also the scene where he's running around. Okay, anyway,
Yeah,
different
anyway.
different movie. But this movie is available on YouTube. Like it's not
great.
unwatchable, but it is kind of zoomed in, and it's not the greatest
No,
quality.
It's fine. It's fine.
But as we said, you can probably find this on a DVD through a special order,
Which
and
may or may not be better quality. Who knows?
well, at least it will be in 4:3, right?
Yeah.
And the moral of the story is watch Justin's Mind Melters, because you will get exposed to really great movies like this one, and there'll be one in October, right, Justin?
Yep, I do a horror movie Mind Melter usually the first weekend of October, but I'm running out of movies.
Really?
You know,
No,
you could just I was gonna say just play some that you've already played, but
Yeah. The thing is that like I always want to, because it's like I want to play stuff people haven't seen, even though most people are like, I haven't heard of Bloodmoon before. What's this?
yeah. So you may have to expand your definition of underseen.
Underseen, yes.
And there's a
To like,
Christmas one.
you
every
guys
week.
like Scream, right? Scream 2, underrated.
No, but you could play that Scream parody movie, Shriek.
I already
if you,
have
oh, shit.
during the first Mind Melter.
Yeah, but it was probably at like 4 a.m, so I didn't see it.
Yes, it was. Shriek if you
Yeah.
know what I did last summer. Yeah, that movie's very funny. Underrated.
Anyway, if you want to email the podcast, we're at no such thing as a bad movie at gmail.com, and we're on Twitter at no such thing pod. And consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/no such thing as a bad movie. If you're on the $5 level, you get access to over 100 bonus episodes, and we release them every 2 weeks. The next one by the time you're listening to this, the most recent one is on the latest Fast and the Furious movie, Fast 10, or is it Furious 10?
Fast X.
Fast X. And we got lots of fun things to say about that. And sometime this summer, I think we're going to do another full-length commentary track. So if you're on Patreon, you can...
Are we? What are we doing?
We don't know yet.
Yeah, I didn't know about
If you're on Patreon, you can I have a thread where people are giving us their suggestions. So let us know what you would want to hear. I haven't shared this with the boys yet, but we've been getting a lot of good suggestions.
Mommy, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Well, I'll get your input too, but a lot of people have had
Incredible
some
Hulk.
good ideas. Which one? The one that Colin worked on?
Did we do Wolverine Origins?
Yeah, we did.
We did a Patreon episode.
Oh, we didn't do a commentary.
Oh,
I don't think we need to do a commentary. We did a Patreon episode.
No. We did a commentary on The Wild.
The Wild.
Yeah, The Wild,
and
Parole Violators.
And just for you super fans out there, we did do a secret third commentary track that is on one of the Gold Ninja video Blu-rays.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Oh, it's not secret. I advertise it. It's on Ninja Terminator.
Terminator, that's right.
They can't get now. So
Oh, no.
We're promising something that's unavailable.
It's out of print?
Yeah.
Well, maybe someday it'll come back.
Yeah, maybe I'll just throw it up online for the super fans. That was a fun one.
I think that was a pandemic record. Anyway.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at April Edmansky.
You can find me on Twitter, DeClux, DCLOUX, letter J. I'm on Letterboxd, Justin DeClux, and every week on the Important Cinema Club as well.
You can
Podcast. Just in case they're like, wait, what is the importance? Is it a clubhouse I can go to?
I don't
What is
understand.
this?
It's a gentleman's club.
You can follow.
Yes, we all smoke pipes and no ladies allowed. That's what a gentleman's club is, right, April?
Yeah,
I think
no,
so.
no dames.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm not allowed in.
No girls, and then the R is reversed, like a child. You can follow me on Twitter, Sergeant Zima, SGTZIMA.
And that's it for this week. Everybody enjoy the warm summer weather and watch out for the Bloodmoon because every time it rises, all the monsters are going to reanimate and come back.
The Phantom of the Opera will come and karate you to death.
Don't worry, I'll have a Tears of the Kingdom update with April next week and ask her where
because
she's at.
Really, it's just taking over my whole life. If you want to know where I'm at, I'm about to do my third dungeon. So
okay, so there's 5 dungeons, so you're almost done.
No, I knew that there was probably going to be another one, but I'm trying to do all the side quests. Obviously, I have
madness.
I've barely even explored the Sky Islands. I'm doing a lot of underground stuff right now.
So people have no idea where you're like, what is this?
Yeah,
I haven't even gone underground.
Oh, it's fun.
Too scary.
No, it's actually really fun. Okay, that's it for me. I'm April Edmansky.
I'm Justin McGlue.
Colin Cunningham.
And remember, there's no such thing as a bad movie.
I like the delivery. You're like, I'm Colin Cunningham.
Very Gary Daniels.
Hello.
Goodbye.
We love you, Gary.
Colin Cunningham.